Okay, Jason Momo, JM on the fly. I'm going to tie this JM triple threat. And I call it a triple threat because the materials that we use for this. In the back here for a tail, if I just break that apart, you see the marabou in here, followed by, and nothing moves in the water like marabou and craft fur. So my second thing is a craft fur, and that is a brush that I use. Craft fur brush that I spin, and then final is the feathers. So the three deadliest materials for streamers. And again, craft fur adds, because it's in a brush, when you spin it, adds the bulk. All the materials flow together. Beautiful little fly, especially in the small sizes. The small sizes like this is about 1.5 inches, if that. Minnow or bait, they're tied in the SC15 Gamakatsus. And of course I tie these all on stainless steel hooks because I can use them from salt water to fresh water. And the next size here is 2 to 2.5 incher, and we tie that on the same size 6 but an SS15 instead of an SC15. So that is the difference in the two sizes. And of course you could step that up and just continue stepping it up by going by hook size. But that basically gives you the idea of size to hook to compare when you're tying these things. Anyway, the triple threat, probably one of the deadliest streamers you could get. It's such a secret weapon. Shouldn't even be putting this video out, but I am. Okay, anyway, let's show you how we tie this thing. I'm going to start with the old SS15 size 6. Let me get that in my vise here. Get everything squared away for you. I like to use mono. Like I said, I use a lot of these in the salt water. I just like the binding a little better. We're going to wrap that into the back. Let me see if I can't zoom in here a little bit and try and get this a little bit more focused. Okay, try and concentrate a little bit more on the fly itself rather than me. I'm going to grab my bonding because I'm going to need that and my light before we get rolling here too far. Okay, now, next step, we're going to add our marabou. In this case, and these are little tricks that I'm going to show you as we go along here. I'm going to take a little piece, one strand of strung blood quill marabou. And if you do little tricks, this is why you watch the videos. Okay, so if I take that like this and I pull everything together, all the tips are even. Okay? But if I take the piece and I fold it, and I pull it all together. See how uneven them are? See how we have long ones mixed in with the short ones? And that's kind of what I'm looking for here, so I could get some length. I want this to be maybe completely, maybe 1.5 times the length of the hook. And I'm going to tie that in to the back of the hook shank, just like that. Again, underneath and hike up that tail. Okay? So you can see we got a nice tailing. You see how these fibers are uneven? Like I said, if I would have just went straight up with that marabou, they'd all be lined up and you'd have a tail that looks more like that. So again, just bend it over and use the fibers that way. Little tricks. These are little tricks, little things that you do to enhance your tying. We're going to come right in front of that bump there and we're going to tie in our brush. Okay, so we're just going to tie in our brush just like that. And if you ever see if you don't know anything about brushes, you check out my videos, my craft fur brush videos. All these brushes right here are what I call a free craft fur brush. It's all stuff that you have left over from tying a lot of the long craft fur patterns which would be normally waste, but we keep all this stuff and then we spin it on into a brush. And this brush does a couple things for you, and I'll explain that in a minute. You see how I'm just slowly wrapping it forward and pulling my fibers back? And that'll end up being my last wrap right there. I want a good little, reach in with the scissors, we'll cut that wire. Take your little pliers. You can see the tip of that, I believe you can see a tip of that, little metal tip right here. And we're going to just take that and we're going to roll that around the shank so it's nice and smooth. Put a couple wraps on that and come back over the top of it just a little bit. And now we're going to take our brush and we're going to comb this baby out. So take the brush, dog hair brush, and we're going to comb this straight back. Remember, you can't hurt this fly. Now it's all completely solid and everything's nice with it. We're going to turn it upside down and we're going to immediately, we're going to clear out the underside of the brush. Okay, so we clear our hook here at this point. Okay, so you see the hook sticking out. We're going to come right in here. I'm going to cut out any loose fibers, and you end up with something that looks like that. Okay, now again, the reason for the brush is that's what adds the bulk to this minnow pattern. Okay, if you look at the very end here, all the fibers at the end are marabou. Maybe there's a few of the craft fur that come back to it, but we want to try and get that marabou in the back there so we got that wiggle. And then our bulk was created by the brush. By spinning the brush, you add bulk to this minnow. And this would fish perfect just the way it is. But we're going to add feathers to make this thing even better. And you can add whatever feathers you want. I'm using, for this fly here, we'll take a couple of whatever. It could be saddle hackles. This happens to be a good neck, but it has nice long skinny feathers which I want to use for the sides and the top of the fly. So I'm going to take this, get a length. I want that to run as long as any fiber on the streamer. Again, cut them off. I'll put these two on the camera side. Just like that. Okay, so we got two feathers there on the camera side. That's looking good. We could straighten all of it out after I'm done. I'm going to take two more of the feathers and I'm going to put them on my side. Okay, just like that. And again, checking your length, make sure you're long enough. And we'll tie them right in on my side. Again, cutting that off so you can see what we have here. And I do want to make sure that we're cut free. Try and keep everything away from the edge of that. So you can see we have two feathers on that side, two feathers on this side, just splayed out along the side. Now we're going to come right up over the top with another feather. Actually, you could use, rather than feathers or regular feathers, here's peacock. We could just take a chunk of peacock, pull out a few fibers, and we could lay that right out over the top, and that could be our top feather. And I'll just tie that in just for something different so you can see what we got. Okay, so yeah, that just lays out over. Once that gets all wet, that'll all come together beautifully. Again, snip that out. Let's try and clean up all these ends and get them all underneath just like that. So you can see what we have there. 2 feathers on that side, 2 feathers on that side. Okay, wet finish. And that is the JM triple threat. We're going to, the last step, we're going to take our Bondic. Okay, this is when you'll really want to place your feathers where you want them. And that would be right before you hit it with the light. So I'm going to come up onto my feathers a little bit. Okay, come right onto your feather and put a nice little bead around the head. You can see that very nicely like that. Then I'm just going to pull this where I want it before I hit it with the light. And I don't know if you can see in the camera, that smokes a little bit and hardens. And you can see right there how that thing just kind of held together beautifully. And we end up with the triple threat. Again, triple threat meaning the 3 deadliest materials that you could actually put into a streamer. And that's honestly, that's my honest opinion. One being the Marabou. Okay. The other being the craft fur, which needs to go in as a brush so that you add bulk. And the others being the feathers that you prolong. You end up with a nice, this one's in the 2.5 inch category, and a beautiful fly. Triple threat, JM triple threat. Absolutely one of the best streamers that you'll ever fish. JM on the fly, and I am out of here.